Okay, so this is midpoint and distance. Midpoint and distance are very common type of question. You gotta know it. And it's kind of nice because you just the formula. You just memorize the formula, and then whenever they say, what's the midpoint or what's the distance, you just apply the formula and you're done. So here are the two moves. Here are the two rules you need to know. Just memorize them. So midpoint, if you think of a line on an XY coordinate plane, x-axis, y-axis, the midpoint between these 2 points is like going to be right here, right? So what you do is you take the average of the xy coordinate. Why am I explaining it? Here you go. It's x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. That's it. D is equal to the square root of x1, x2. It doesn't matter which order, but I'm going to do x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, so the idea is that this x2 minus x1 gets you this distance right here, by going back up to the triangle. It gets you this distance, and then you square it, right? And then the y distance, let's do this in a lovely brown. The y distance you get from doing y2 minus y1, and you square that. We got a bunch of problems today. I think today will be pretty fun. Also pretty easy. Okay, so number one, what is the distance? Alright, so we're applying distance formula, right? In coordinate units between the points, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, in the standard xy coordinate plane. It's probably just best to apply that. So our distance is going to be x2, which is 4. I'm going to write the points up here. Alright, so I'm going to take x2, that's 4, minus x1, which is negative 3, right? y2, which is negative 1, y2 minus 5. Having trouble with my thing here. Okay, let's see, this becomes 4 plus 3, which is 7, so 7 squared, and the blue becomes negative 6 squared. Cool. Then we're going to add these together. Square root sign is still above it all. 36 on the right, 36 plus 49. 36 plus 49 is 70 plus 15, which is 85. The square root of 85. That doesn't simplify, so I'm going to see if that's an answer. I see H is our answer. Here we're doing a midpoint, so the coordinates of the endpoints of GH in the standard blah blah blah. These are their coordinates, and we could draw out this and we could plot the points, but we don't have to. We know the formula. So remember the formula. Try to quiz yourself right now. Let's just plug in our points. The points are, let me write them down real quick. I'm going to go with my x2 first, so that's 2 plus negative 8 for the x1, and that's over 2. Let's finish this out on the right side. That's 3 plus negative 3. How fancy that. I knew that's going to be 0. It's going to be 0 over 2, which simplifies to 0, right? I don't know why I'm not doing it in red. This over here on the left will become negative 6 over 2, which becomes negative 3. And that's our midpoint right there. Negative 3 comma 0. Let's see if that's an answer. Well, they only give us 1, and so what does the question say? What is the x coordinate? So details matter, of course. Our x coordinate is the one on the left. It's negative 3. So our answer is B. Alright, here we go. 3-parter. Check this out. There's 3 questions, 1, 2, and 3 down here. They both refer to the same graph. Alright, so the curve y equals this. So that's what this curve is right here, it looks like. In fact, that looks like they said a curve, so it must mean this thing right here, right? Okay, that's defined by this function, y equals 0.005 x squared minus 2x plus 200. This is the domain, 0 to 200. They're kind of stating the obvious, as they often do. Really, the only important thing is the function. Okay, so, and then they give us a line segment from f to g. That's what this guy is. So there's the curve, and then there's the line segment, and then this is the function. That's all that we really need. Now we can jump into the first problem. The length of this curve is longer than fg. About how many coordinate units long is fg? Length, notice they didn't use the word distance, they used the word length, but we can easily adapt. We can easily interpret that. So let's use a distance formula to find out what the length is. They gave us 2 points. F is 0 to 100, and we're going to get crowded in here. F is 0 to 100, G is 200, 0. So let's plug those points in. We'll do 0 minus 200 here, and then 200 minus 0 over here. Both cases are 200 squared. This one is, or I'm sorry, this one is negative 200 squared, and this is 200 squared. That's 80,000 square rooted, and for that, I got 282.8, which is answer D. See, not too bad. Here's our last question. A park has a shape and dimensions in blocks given below. The water fountain is located halfway between point B and point D. So I'm going to check out point B, point D up here. Oh, it's halfway between there. Okay, so if I drew a line, it's going to be halfway in between, right? I think we'll be using the midpoint formula. Let's continue the question. Which of the following is the location of the water fountain from point A? From point A. So if I'm going from point A, that they talk about how the park's borders run east-west or north-south. So it looks like they gave us this hint here as well, that we're headed, that this direction is north. So it looks like we head north, and then, oh gosh. All right, here we go. Even if you didn't know your northeast, southwest, they give you all the answers in north and east. So it does, the direction doesn't matter at all. But we still have to find how many blocks over this way do we have to go, and how many blocks up this way do we have to go to get to this water fountain. Let's see if we can find out what the midpoint is, and maybe then we can move forward. So let's say the midpoint, so I'm going to back it up to this point. Let's see if we can find the midpoint between B and D, and then we can worry about A. I don't know what we're going to do with A yet, but I want to at least find where the water fountain is over here. So B, they didn't give us coordinate point, but we can make one. We know that this is 10, so our x value could be 10. And let's say, this is let's say A is 0, 0. It's like if we were to draw a coordinate plane. A is at 0, 0, B is at 10, 0. D up here is up 12, but then minus 3. You see that? So we know that this distance up to here is 12, but if you go down 3, you get to D. 12 minus 3 is 9. The x value looks to be like we go from 0 to 7. That is our x value there. Okay, so the midpoint, we created 2 points now, 7, 9, 10, 0. Let's make our midpoint. 7 plus 10 over 2, comma, 9 plus 0 over 2. All right, so that's 17 over 2, which is also 8.5, and 9 over 2 is 4.5. Now that looks like an answer. We have 8.5 blocks east, we go 8.5 this way, and up 4.5 north, right? So I'm going to say our answer is D. So that, I think, is definitely a tricky problem, definitely one of the harder ones.